It's also commonly referred to as getting the deed. This is how you make money when you come to a seller, a homeowner who has no equity. I mean, like none. Zero is very desirable. And I know you want to know how to get money off of properties that have no equity. Yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. Talking about subject to wholesaling. We'll get started. I've got all kinds of paperwork for you. I've got all kinds of plans for you. Yep. It's going to be awesome. Already got some people jumping on here. What's up, Billy? What's up, Raphael? What's up, Alifa? Hey, welcome to the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. I'm Justin Chamness, and this is Thursday nights in the month of June. This year we have subject to wholesaling classes we are putting on here. Teaching, training, showing people the way, trying to be that beacon of light and blessing. This is how you get the deed, guys. You ever heard anybody mention you should just get the deed, or get the deed wholesaling, or subject to, or if you're real cool like me, you just say sub to, and you spell it all gangster. That's what we're into tonight. Hey, Carlos, good to see you, man. We're going to jump into subject to wholesaling right now.
If you're a quick flip real estate, this is going to change your life.
Well, all right. This is the first session of Subject to Wholesaling. Lots of ways to wholesale. We've been talking about real estate wholesaling and various techniques and things that one can, can perpetrate. Things that one can perpetrate in their real estate wholesaling business to accomplish getting these deals done. We've been dealing with virtual co-wholesaling. That's also known as mobile wholesaling. It's also known as joint venture wholesaling. And joint partner wholesaling, co-wholesaling, co-wholesaling. Man, it's funny how all these guys they've just, these gurus and teachers have all invented new names and for the same techniques, but they all got good things to say, and we're thankful for all of the teachers in our lives. And so anyway, I know I am. But yeah, we've been dealing with virtual co-wholesaling, and then we've also been dealing with bank-owned wholesaling, and then that's just getting properties that are bank-owned, REOs. Those are also called REOs, and sometimes those are called Fannie houses, Freddie houses, HUD houses. It's just the list probably goes on and on. Those are all the names, but we've been talking about how to do bank-owned wholesaling, and that's Monday nights. Having a great time doing that. Super awesome crowd the other night. We had, I think, about 120 people watching us all across the United States and across the globe, if you believe we live on a globe. Yep, there's people from all kinds of international places watching us, and we're very, very glad that everyone can join us here at the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. We feel like we are actually making an impact, and that's a great feeling to have. So we've been dealing with those strategies. We've also been talking about wholesale lease options, and guys and gals, don't forget, on Saturday now we do have wholesaling lease options, and that is kicking off at 10 o'clock. You don't want to forget that. That's Central Time, guys. Don't get confused from where you're at and where I'm at. Different times. All right, so 10 o'clock on Saturday, Central U.S. time, we are talking about wholesaling lease options. We had begun originally to jump into those topics, and we took a step back from it because we were waiting on a tool to be developed here that we use in the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. And I've got great news for you. That tool is even better and more kick-ass than ever, guys. It really is. And you do not want to miss what's going on with that. Wholesale and lease options. What we've endeavored to do here is offer you everything that you possibly could need in real estate wholesaling, in training, and in the agreements, and in the plan, and all of that. We've tried to make that available for you for free over at Real Estate Wholesalers Club. And some of you need to go there and spend some time and just kind of pick and choose your favorite, you know, what you want, what kind of wholesaling you want to get into, and then just go do the course. It's free. We have free training modules, free agreements, free everything. So go check it out. The only thing you pay for over at the Real Estate Wholesalers Club as it stands today is one-on-one coaching, where you get one-on-one personally, you know, designed just for you, between you and me, on a weekly basis. You get coaching calls, and those do cost a little money, but I think it comes out to somewhere around $10-12 a week. So, you know, it's not that much. Hey, what's going on, R-Dub? Hey, what's happening, R-Dub? You want to know how to get some deeds? You want to know how to subject to wholesale? Because that's what we're into tonight. I've been blabbing about everything else, but there's just so much going on this month, guys. Check out the tabs, the events tab at the Real Estate Wholesalers Club Facebook group, which if you don't know where that's at, just go to realestatewholesalersclub.com and check us out, right? Because that's really what it's all about. Yeah, but tonight we are definitely talking about subject to wholesaling, all right? And I'm sure we're going to have some questions about that. So let me take one quick little break, and we will jump right into what is subject to wholesaling. What is getting the deed, and is this even legal?
I just want to give that, with your training for the from last Thursday and Monday, last Thursday with your lease option training was outstanding. I got on there a little late because of time difference. I thought you was in California, but I still tried. I did jump on there, and I was so jacked up about yesterday's training. It was free. I'm excited because wholesaling, Virtual wholesaling is my main thing. I love it. And the training that you gave yesterday was outstanding. I can't wait for the next 3 weeks. But yes, I benefited a lot. I got a lot going. I'm doing my homework for both of them, actually, with you. But I only can make the Monday night ones for right now. But I love you. Thank you. You and Jane Gaines is my idol on Facebook for my coaches and trainers, And I do have my partner, Mr. Nelson, that, me and him we're cricketing each other, we're building together, we're building wealth by flipping and flopping and buying properties, investing in properties. Now we're getting to the point that we have investors come in and using their money to help us close deals or do deals together. We're working on that area right now. So our company is a full run effect company now. We're going to change the name to it won't be the Face Sunnyside LLC, it'll be the Face Sunnyside. But I love you all. God bless. But Justin, the benefit, we are sure benefit. I benefit a lot, and I am jacked up for the next 3 weeks. Let's go for it. It's free. It's for me. It's for Rosalina. It's free. It's for me, and I'm excited. And I thank the Lord every day for your blessing, because if you can give somebody something free at the end, you're always going to bless something. When you give, you will receive. When you give, when you receive. When you're selfish, you won't receive. And I have the benefit, right? No doubt that I'm going to close a deal in the next 3 weeks of Virtual wholesaling by your training.
Yeah, that's right. I believe she will close that deal. Guys, that's what we're all about here. We're all about you closing deals. We want to get you to your first deal. That's what I hear most from everybody that comes around the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. They say, number one, I want to get to that first deal. And number two, I need some step-by-step action in my life. I want you to show me step-by-step what I need to get to. And then number three, I'm going to need some accountability, Justin. I can't do it alone. And my favorite saying is, nobody gets rich in this business alone. And I mean nobody. Not me, not you, not your daddy, not your mama, not your granny. That's right. All right. Subject to wholesaling. Hey, Mike Zimmer, what's going on, man? Woo, that's a blast from the past. Hey, welcome to my show, brother. I'm glad you're here, man. Reno, thanks for checking me out tonight. Brian, Alifa, Janet, all popped on. Carlos, nobody can fool me. Nobody can fool you, dude. Great seeing you, man. You're an incredible guy. An awesome guy to have here at the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. All right, we're going to talk about subject to wholesaling. What is subject to wholesaling? Well, subject to wholesaling is what we are talking about tonight. It is commonly known as getting the deed. All right, I've got a strategy overview I pulled up here, and I'm not going to burden you with all of it tonight. I want you to remember this is a 4-week session. We are doing 4 sessions this month on this topic. We are not going to try to tackle how to get deals, how to get buyers, how to do the paperwork. What is it? All that stuff tonight. We're just going to do the helicopter overview tonight of what is subject to wholesaling. Guys, some people try to make this complicated. It is really not complicated at all. If you recall, in regular real estate wholesaling, what we're doing is we are putting contracts on properties that are typically ugly house properties, ugly junker properties. And those properties are being then, those contracts that we put on those contracts, those properties, we are now taking those contracts and then we're selling those contracts off to our buyers list. Now, in this particular strategy, you don't need a buyers list per se of investors. That is one nuance to the pretty house wholesaling deal that does not require it's different than the other techniques that we teach here at the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. It's different than virtual co-wholesale where you need a buyer's list, right? It's different than ugly house wholesaling where you need a buyer's list, all right? Wholesaling lease options, you don't always have to have a buyer's list to be successful, of course. It would be helpful, but those buyers move along really quickly, and so your list is outdated by the time you get it printed off, pretty much. And it's kind of like that, and those same types of buyers are the types of buyers that you're going for with the subject to technique, which is what we're talking about tonight. So this is one nuance about subject to wholesaling where you don't necessarily, or you're not selling these deals off to investors like fix and flippers and landlords. These are, you're finding buyers that have down payments. That's really what you're looking for, kind of like in the wholesale lease option game where you're looking for folks that can put a large deposit down. Okay, we call it an option fee in that game. In this particular game here, it really is like a down payment. And we're going to go through and show you all the details, but you can see I've got the strategy laid out for you. I'm going to give you step-by-step how to initiate in your business the ability to do pretty house wholesale, to pick up pretty houses that have no equity and flip them, quick flip them, make money, and believe it. You know, I know you have the ability to believe it if you've done any amount of ugly house wholesaling lead generation, that you are getting leads and calls from people who are motivated sellers and they need a solution, but they have no equity. And so immediately that disqualifies your fix and flipper buyers and your landlord buyers. Now you can see the strategy that I've laid out here. I'm going to make this available to everybody during the 4 weeks and following the 4 weeks. Hey, what's up, Kelly? Good to see you here. Rodney, good to see you, man. We've got a pretty decent group tonight. We got a lot of folks that watch us over on YouTube and some other platforms. But I'm always excited to see everybody here and the interactions. Feel free to put in the chat questions and comments as we go along. It's very interactive. I do not want to make this about me. I want it to be about you and your business. Now, the strategy overview, I've gone in pretty depth here. You can see even step one, create a brand name and a dedicated phone number. You're going to need a phone number, right? So in the overview, I have really given you step-by-step what to do. Number two, market to homeowners of houses that are in market condition with low equity. We were just talking about that. These folks have no equity. In fact, zero equity, meaning they owe what that property is worth. All right. Those are actually quite desirable in this technique. And so you can see why this technique is something that every experienced and mature real estate wholesaler will want to have in his tool bag, because you are going to run across leads and people are going to call you and say, hey, can you buy my house? It's worth $200,000 and I owe $198,000. Okay. Or I owe $200,000. It's worth $200,000. All right. And I need to move. My job transferred me. All right. So I've stepped out, you know, every little piece here for you. There's some example ads, so on and so forth. You can see now what really makes these deals work are the motivated sellers. The best deals always come from motivated sellers. Now that's still the truth, whether you're doing ugly house wholesaling or whether you're doing pretty house wholesaling, whether you're doing wholesaling lease options. Hey, Jessica, good to see you. It doesn't matter what type of technique you're using in real estate wholesaling, and this technique is no exception to the rule. The best deals always, 100% of the time, guys, come from motivated sellers. All right. Now, here's the problem I see with a lot of, and this, I'm going to bunny trail here a little bit for 1 second. I would hit the rant button, but it's too much work. What I notice of people brand new into the real estate wholesaling business is this. I'll tell them, hey, you need to go build a buyer's list first. Okay, we're talking about ugly houses just real quick. They go over there, they build a buyer's list, they get 100, 150 names on an email list. They put it, maybe even they're aggressive enough to go to realestatewholesalersclub.com and go to our wholesalers tools, and they subscribe to getresponse.com. Maybe that's what they do, and so now they've got an email blaster system. All right, so now they've got an email blaster system with emails in it, and names for real estate investors that want to buy ugly properties. They've got a buyer's list. Now the next step would be, obviously, right, to go and get property deals under contract to flip to those buyers. But what I notice a lot of folks do is they say, okay, well, I've built a buyer's list. Now I'm going to go find a property deal. I'm going to go to Craigslist and I'm going to search through the listings and I'm going to call and find me a junker property to do. I'm telling you what, you're asking for a ball kicking time. I mean, really, you're asking, you might as well have me come over and kick you in the balls, because it would be funner for both of us than for me to watch you go to Craigslist and try to find property deals to sell to your buyer's list. That's not how it's done, folks. You have to look for motivated sellers in any technique. I don't care if it's wholesale lease options. Okay, great. You need a motivated seller, right? Okay, great. I'm doing ugly houses. Okay, great. You need a motivated seller, right? Well, I want to do virtual co-wholesale. Well, there has to be a motivated seller somewhere in the picture. So you, at the end of the day, are a marketer, and you need to be marketing for motivated sellers. Now, what's so fantastic about this particular technique is it does not require for that home seller to have 30% equity. They don't have to have 30% equity in the deal in order for you to be able to make an offer and for them to work for them. In pretty house wholesaling, you can do subject to wholesaling here, same thing. You can do properties that have zero equity, but they still must be motivated sellers. If they're not motivated sellers, they are not going to be interested in your proposition, in your offer. So you must start with a motivated seller in this particular strategy. You do not have to go spend time and money to build a buyer's list to be successful at pretty house wholesaling, but you cannot forego the motivated seller. You must have the motivated seller. You can see right here on the screen, it says the best deals come from sellers with no other options in niches which no one else is working. Okay, the best deals come from sellers with no other options. Now, in pretty house wholesaling, we are talking about sellers who need to move. They need to move. They need to get out of this property deal that they are in. Okay? I don't know what the reason may be. It may be a job transfer. It may be a kind of an amicable divorce or separation. It may be that someone is in the military and they went on tour of duty overseas and now they're kind of in a pinch at home and they want to do something with the house. I don't really know. There's a million different scenarios that could play out for why a homeowner is motivated, but there must be a level of motivation there. And typically it is because they have begun to realize that they have no equity in their home, not even enough to afford to sell the house using a realtor. Now, why could they not afford to sell a house using a realtor? Because they owe too much on the property. Let's say they owe what basically they owe what it's worth. Now, we're going to take a look at this deal right here. This is wholesaling pretty houses. An example. In your real estate wholesaling business, you're going to run into situations like this where the homeowner, in this particular example, has a house worth $200,000. And it's a pretty house. It must be a pretty house. That's why we call this pretty house wholesaling, subject to wholesaling, getting the deed on pretty houses. Houses that require no fix and repairs. Okay, they don't require $20,000, $30,000 in cosmetics. They don't require a contractor to come in and do a bid and estimate and come in and redo the floors and the walls and add a bathroom and a bedroom to increase livable square feet. No, we're not doing any of that. We put $0 into repairs. These are pretty houses. These houses in this example the house is worth $200,000, but the homeowners owe $195,000. They are not going to be able to sell with a realtor. They're going to call Keller Williams. They're going to call Reese Nichols. They're going to call Coldwell Banker. They're going to call some real estate agency or brokerage, and they're going to say, hey, can you help me sell my house? I want to sell. We're ready to sell. And the realtor's going to come out and he's going to say, well, you know, your house is really we could only really list it for like maybe $205 and maybe sell it for $200 or something. That's really what it's worth. Now, what do you owe on it? And they're going to say, well, we owe $195,000 on it. And the realtor's going to scratch his head immediately and say, okay, well, you know, my fee is like 6% of $200,000. So that's going to put you somewhere down, you know, like, you know, in the hole about $6,000. Are you going to be able to bring $6,000 to the table to close so that I can be paid? No, you can't. Okay, well then, I'm sorry, we can't help you with this property. We can't sell this house for you. Guys, it happens to people all the time. In the world that we live in of quick, easy loans, sometimes it's quick and easy, and in the world we live in where sometimes it's just so desperately hard. All at the same time. It's so easy to get bad loans, and it is so desperately hard for others to get loans. This is an awesome technique. Because these folks here, they probably got the wrong loan for the house that they were buying at the wrong time. There maybe a couple things were not quite right when they bought this house. But they bought this house, they got zero equity in it. They can't even afford to sell it with the realtor. But oh no, grandma in Wyoming has come down with some kind of a flu, and we're worried that she's not going to be able to care for herself, and we must move to Wyoming. Well, we can't sell this house now. We don't even, we can't even afford to pay a realtor. We would need to live here another 5 or 6 years probably in order to be able to afford what's going on with this. And that's just a break even. But we got to move right now. What do we do? How do we handle this $1,550 a month principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment that we have? You see, there's motivation there. And they cannot sell it through a realtor. They can't afford to. So here's what they always opt to try to do. Well, if I can't sell it through a realtor, then I'll just sell it myself. Right? Makes total sense. I'll just sell it myself. That is a great idea. Unfortunately, most homeowners don't know the first thing about selling a property. Yep, they don't know the first thing about what it needs to look like inside, what it needs to smell like inside. They don't know the first thing about how to get marketing going and signs and ads on Craigslist and how to get it on Zillow and how to get it on Hub, or whatever, hub.com or propertydeals.com or wherever this property Facebook marketplace, wherever this property deal needs to be advertised to be sold. Do you think the homeowner is experienced there? No, they're not. They're not experienced. They do not have the confidence, most of them, to even pull it off. Although many of them will give it a shot for a while. And that's because it is the only option that they see. They do not have the ability to sell this through a realtor. What choice do I have but to sell it myself? Enter the wholesaler. Enter the wholesaler. All right, the wholesaler comes in. That's you and me. And once the wholesaler comes in, there is another option that becomes available to these homeowners. Now, if we're wholesaling a pretty house, and this is the same example, the market value of that property is $200,000. Remember from the previous page. That's what this property deal is worth. These homeowners own a house worth $200,000. Right? They might be able to sell it for $205,000. Now, they could also, yes, according to Janet here in this question, she wants to know, can they sublease to wholesaler and rent it? Yeah, you could do a wholesale lease option here. You really could. You totally could. But in some cases, it makes sense to get the deed. It does make sense to get the deed sometimes. All right? And it also makes it easier to collect a larger down payment sometimes because you're actually transferring deed. Okay? You're not dealing with a lease. You're not dealing with a tenant or tenancy. You're dealing with actual transfer of deed and actual homeowners. We're not talking about tenants. Although, this deal would work for a wholesale lease option. You're right, Janet. Totally would. So you'll see a lot of similarities between these two techniques. Market value $200,000 is what that house is worth. They could sell it for $205,000 possibly, but they owe $195,000. What we're going to do is we are going to take deed to the property. We are going to buy this property deal from them. We're going to put it under contract for the loan balance of $195,000. It says, you see, it says ST right next to that. That means subject to. Okay, so they owe $195,000 on a house that's worth about $200,000. We're going to buy that property from them, quote unquote, and I hate air quotes, but here I am doing it, subject to the original mortgage that they have. It's going to stay in place. Okay? Now, I know there's probably some light bulbs coming on, and people are going to say, hey, now, what does that do for the due on sale clause? We're going to talk about that here in a second. Now, the loan balance, we're going to buy that property for the loan balance. Now, somebody probably wants to know, yeah, but isn't that loan balance always changing and going down like as payments are being made? Yeah, exactly. They are. That's why you're buying it subject to the loan balance, which is approximately $195,000 at this point, but it will be lower later. And at that point, it's still subject to whatever number that is. Okay? So that financing is staying in place, and the deed is changing names to us, the wholesaler. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn right around, and we're going to take that deed, and we're going to sell this property again to our buyer, who is going to come in and pay $205 for it. Now, how are they going to pay $205 for it? Is that in cash? Nope, not in cash. We will create the financing. How do we create the financing? Subject to the original mortgage. That's how. Very simple. So we are going to sell it to our buyer for $205,000. They are going to be putting down a $10,000 down payment. Why $10,000? Because that is the difference between the current loan balance and the sales price of $205,000. So that $10,000 now becomes our profits. Do you see this? The $10,000 now becomes our profits as wholesalers. Now, when our buyer takes over and they get the deed and they start maintaining that mortgage, the whole deal is subject to that mortgage, they will be making that $1,550 payment. So they're going to put, our buyer is going to put down $10,000 on a pretty house. And then they are going to begin immediately making the payments on that property, which is $1,550 a month. Pretty simple, isn't it? Pretty simple. Not too bad. That is the helicopter overview of wholesaling pretty houses. We're finding motivated sellers. Guys, these people are everywhere. And the worse the economy gets, the more and more they are out there. Put this tool in your tool bag. Have this tool in your toolkit. Now you're going to need a purchase and sale agreement. You're going to need what we call a performance mortgage. You're going to need a disclosure, a cover your ass letter. Okay? We've got all of those and we're going to make those available. And they're going to be for free right here at therealestatewholesalersclub.com. Subject to wholesaling, getting the deed on property deals that have zero equity. Can you see the beauty in this? Hey man, now you're getting smart. Now you're smart enough to do ugly houses that have equity, or where you can create equity. But now you're getting smart enough to be able to do pretty houses that have no equity. Just imagine the world that will open up for you whenever you're doing your real estate wholesaler marketing and the phone rings and it's somebody who has no equity and they must move. They have to get out of this property deal. Maybe they're even a little behind on payments. That's okay. It's okay if they're behind on payments. Maybe they're like, hey, I can't afford to make the payment on this house and the one in Wyoming where I've got to move because of my job transfer or my grandma is sick or whatever the story may be. And you're just like, hey, it's all good. I'd love to visit with you. We have options for you too. Man, you're helping people in a pinch, people that have no equity, but you're still going to create money. You're going to create money. You're going to create a solution for them. You're going to create an opportunity for a buyer, and you're going to create money for you in the middle.
Hey Justin, Carlos here from Galveston. Having all that content you have in your Facebook page and your group, it's appreciated because we can go anytime during the day or night whenever we have a chance.
That's it. Yes.
You know, thanks again. Can't wait to get started on that first deal and then start rolling after that, man.
Now, I totally was going to say something about this, Carlos. Hey, thank you, buddy. I love you.
Hey, Justin. Carlos here from Galveston. Having all that content you have in your Facebook page and your group, it's appreciated because we can go anytime during the day or night whenever we have a chance.
That's it. It won't change.
Yes. You know, thanks again. Can't wait to get started on that first deal
I'm
and
stuck.
then start rolling after that, man.
Now, I totally was going to say something about this,
all right,
Carlos.
guys.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I love you.
Hey, Justin.
It won't quit playing this.
Oh
my
gosh. You have in your Facebook page and your group, it's appreciated.
Technological problems, man.
Whenever we have a chance.
That's it. Yes.
All
right, guys.
Can't wait to get started on that first deal, and then
love you guys. Y'all have a great night. Thanks, Carlos. I was going to say something about this, Carlos. Hey, thank you, buddy. I love you.
Hey, Justin. Carlos here from Galveston. Having all that content you have in your Facebook page and your group, it's appreciated because we can go anytime during the day or night whenever we have a chance.
That's it. Yes.
Thanks again. Can't wait to get started on that first deal and then start rolling after that, man.
I totally was going to say something about this, Carlos. And now I'm back. Hey, we only had to watch that Carlos commercial like 3-4 times. That's not bad. What kind of buyers are we looking for on this, guys? We're looking for those buyers who have no other way of getting a home loan, all right? Or it just doesn't make sense for them to, all right? The buyers, what they're doing is they're looking for a way to own a home. They're going to own a home. All right, it's doing crazy stuff. Oh, my God. Woo. Man, anyway, I'm back. These buyers, they're going to be more than happy to put down